Everton are renowned for fighting, but surrended again. Liverpool. Fight, fight, fight. It's a mantra from one of Everton's most renowned terrace chants, the demand that nothing is left behind in the wearing of a royal blue jersey. Those words came to mind in the 19th minute of the 206th Merseyside derby as a stark reminder. As supporters started streaming for the exits, there was no sign of fight. It was quite the opposite, in fact. Here was a bleak picture of surrender. Evertonians had feared the worst ahead of this latest neighborhood squabble, and as Liverpool threatened to cut loose, it was too much for many to handle. Down the steps of the park end they scurried, blocking out the taunts of those in red. No wonder. At that point, there was no contest, just the likelihood of a humiliation. Liverpool had created 7 chances in that period and, really, should have had victory wrapped up. A sign of how little pressure they were under arrived when Andrew Robertson was allowed to gallop 50 yards upfield, cutting in from the left at leisure, without any sign of a tackle arriving. That opening quarter was an affront to those who had created a bear pit before kickoff. This grand old stadium was shaking with expectation. The reality that emerged as Liverpool kept the ball, goading them with each pass, was horribly sobering, as they threatened to be left as dead as dodos. This Everton squad, assembled at great cost over the last 5 years, is well capable of downing tools at any given moment, but to have done so against Liverpool would have been the biggest affront of all. When fans want to go home after 20 minutes, it speaks volumes. The disconnect here is huge. Surprisingly, Everton didn't shrivel and wilt like a crisp packet on a fire. For 30 minutes, they mustered a response. They began to throw a few punches and landed one when Demarai Gray, a young man who deserves no criticism, pounced to pull one back. Gray cares. He has shown he can fight with hard running and his determination. At £1.7 million, he is the only signing for whom Rafa Benitez has paid money, and nothing about the deal to get him from Bayer Leverkusen in the summer was bad business. His goal, expertly taken, had fans running down the stairs again, only this time it was in celebration. Could they really salvage the situation? For a few minutes, as they scampered after loose balls and thundered into tackles, there was a glimmer of hope. But Everton are in such a mess because they have excelled in bad business under the ownership of Farhad Moshiri, paying big fees and huge wages for players who don't have the appetite or desire to defend the honor of those who turn up religiously every week to back them. Evertonians will give everything for a team that shows spirit and heart, but, as we head into 2021, it is difficult to think of a point when there has been such acrimony in the stadium since the days of the late 1990s, when they flirted with relegation. To understand how bad the situation was laid on, after Mohamed Salah had scored his second with a super breakaway and Diogo Jota gleefully thrashed in the coup de grace, you only need to look at the park end again. Long before the final whistle, it was practically empty, a sea of blue seats. Those who chose to stay, however, were mutinous. The Guladies Street sang for the board to be sacked. Those around the director's box aimed their fury at the men in suits, spitting out their fury like a hail of machine gun fire. Nobody was spared.